And I'm Erin Treadwell. I'm the Waste Compliance Manager with the City of Sacramento, Recycling Solid Waste, part of our Public Works Department. And also with me today is Margaret Kashuba. She's our Program Specialist. We're there too, who will be reviewing the waste plans that you will be submitting if you're having an event that's over 500 plus. I want to point out we'll be talking a lot about franchised haulers today. And we have two of our haulers here with tables, Recology and Atlas. So if you're going to be having a 500 plus event, you'll probably be working with one of these vendors. So please talk to them afterwards. I also know that we have staff from Public Services in the audience today. So these are great resources for you. Everything I'm going to be talking about today is on our website. We also have a couple of printouts here you can pick up on your way out that are basically the written requirements that I'll be going through today, as well as a sample of a blank waste plan. So let's go ahead and jump in. So why do we have to have a waste plan? Well, state law changed around 5 years ago, and SB 1383 in our world, in your world, it's more like the organics law, have to do with reducing greenhouse gases, but it's basically the reason we are all correct recycling organics in our homes, at businesses, etc., and that includes special events. So we are having to comply with state law, and that law has also been codified in the City of Sacramento Code. So everything I'll be going over with you today is also in City Code. So that's kind of why we're here, why we're having these discussions. So what is a waste plan and who has to do it? If you are going to be planning an event that is city permitted in city parks or public right-of-way or public space, and that's 500 includes attendees, vendors, volunteers, employees, you need to submit a waste plan. That waste plan has 3 elements. One is the actual form itself. Like I said, I have some samples up here today. It's 6 pages. It kind of walks you through everything that you're going to need to do. You also need to submit a map. Thank you for doing my map. So right there. So, but you need to show where the waste containers are going to be on the map. So all the things he said that need to be on the map, add waste containers. But we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the map section. The other thing you're going to need to have is the signed agreement with the waste hauler that you'll be operating with. Recology, Atlas, Republic, Waste Management. Those are our 4 franchised haulers, and that's what you will have to use. A franchise is a fancy way of saying a permit. So those are the permitted haulers that are allowed to provide commercial waste services in the City of Sacramento, and an event is considered a commercial activity, a commercial event. So they're going to be the folks you're going to go to. There's links at the end of this and also on the form to those haulers so you can get that information or talk to them here today. But hold on, go back. One thing, I want to check on something. Oh, sorry. Important thing, sorry. So with the waste plan, the 3 elements I talked about, all 3 of those things have got to be turned in together at the same time. In 2026, we're going to be sticklers about that. We're no longer going to accept a plan and then 2 weeks later a map and, oh yeah, the agreement. No, the entire package is going to have to be turned in at the same time, all 3 elements, and the deadline is 30 days in advance. You've probably got charming emails from us saying, where's your plan? Where's your plan? Please turn in your plan. 30 days is the minimum that has got to be to us with all 3 of those elements, particularly in the busy seasons, which is in Sacramento pretty much May through October, but please, those need to be into us. So, all right. So here are the responsibilities in City Code related to event organizers and waste. You are responsible for making sure you have the right level of service for the event that you're putting on, that you have the staff to manage the containers, making sure they're getting cleared out, that you are replacing bags during the event, that you are also in charge of making sure the containers are placed correctly in your event space, and we'll go a little bit deeper into that in a minute. Also, very important, also we'll be talking more about it, your containers must comply with the state requirements related to signage. Good news, we provide you free signage, but you need to make sure it gets on your containers. And also, you need to remove all the containers and all the waste after the event. This is something you will sign and certify as part of your waste plan form, that you understand that these are the responsibilities you'll be undertaking. All right. So, what are the three waste streams we're going to be talking about? Garbage, recycling, and organics. So, at all events that require a waste plan, you have to have garbage and recycling, those two without fail. For events where food is being sold, given away for free, or even encouraged to be brought, like bring your picnic to movie night or to parts of the park, you will have to have organics waste containers and stream and handle that. So those are the three that we're talking about. So how do you get service for these three options or three waste streams? These are the options that are allowed in the city. One is to work with a franchise hauler, so I've just mentioned those. Some are here today, you can talk, and they handle all three of those streams. Now, when it comes to blue bin, what we call blue bin recycling, but you think about your standard recycling, you can do what we call a third-party self-haul. And what that means is you work with a nonprofit group, and they will provide the recycling services at your event. And then what their aim is to collect all the bottles and cans and get the CRV value for that. However, if that's going to be part of your waste plan, you have to identify the organization, and you have to identify the recycling center that they'll be using for this service. If you have an event that's 2,000 plus, and there's a few parts of a large event like that that require some more waste stuff, I'll get to that at the very end of this presentation, you actually have to provide the diversion and the tonnage that was removed. So, but a hauler will help you achieve that. But you can do some third-party self-haul for recycling. Backhaul is the idea that you can take the waste and take it to your own commercial containers. Never home, never residential. The only time we allow for a backhaul is if the business that's putting the event on is located where the event is. Best example, a brewery wants to do Oktoberfest, and they close down a couple of streets, put up a stage, put up some tents. They're going to generate a lot more waste because they're going to have a lot more people coming in, but they would be allowed with the plan to collect the waste in the containers that are maybe a lot in the street and then take it back to their restaurant, which should be literally where the event is already taking place. You could never backhaul or self-haul waste from an event to your home or to your business if it is not literally located where the event is. All right. So, I use these terms very interchangeably, which is not helpful, but there's containers, there's bins, there's receptacles, so I'll try to be a little better about it. But when you're filling out your waste plan, when you're working with the waste haulers, these are the two types of containers, receptacles you're going to be looking at. One are what we would call bins, you might even call them dumpsters. These are the large 2-yard, 3-yard containers that you would probably have one garbage, one recycle, and one organics container if you're having food located at your event. This is for your staff and volunteers to use. This is not for the public, for your attendees to use, but this is where, when you use the receptacles that are spread among your event space, that's collected there and brought back to these containers. So when we look for your waste plan, we're going to look both for the large waste containers that your hauler is going to service, as well as the small receptacles that you are going to be having out in your event space. I'm going to talk a lot more about receptacles in the next slide, but those you'll see in the waste plan, we ask for how many of the big containers you're going to have and how many of the receptacles that the public are going to use are you going to have. Haulers will provide the large ones. They will sometimes, and you'll have to work with them, they will sometimes provide the smaller receptacles. Not always, and I don't know the rhyme or reason, but you as an event coordinator need to make sure that you have enough receptacles at your space. Where do you get them? You can get the cardboard ones. off of Amazon. They're recyclable, so at the end of the event, you can recycle them at the same time. There's ones you can purchase, like these top ones. They're very portable. You can wash them down, collapse them, and store them. And if you're someone who does a series of events over time, you may want to go ahead and invest in having some of these containers that you can use all the time. You can go to Home Depot and get one of the big trash cans. The key will be the signage, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. But so those are kind of the different things you need to be aware of when you're setting up your event. Okay, so signage, colors. The state requires that all containers at events, and right here, perfect example, are appropriately color-coded. I don't see signs over there. We'll fix that later. Okay, so, alrighty then. That is, garbage containers need to be black or gray. Recycled containers need to be blue. Organic containers need to be green and brown. You need to have signage on your containers. So at all events, again, I said you have to have garbage and recycle at all events, and organics where you have food. Garbage and recycle has to be placed out amongst your whole event space. Organics can be placed where food is being vended and consumed. So if you've got a bank of food trucks and you got some picnic tables, that's where your organics can be. Here's the other, not trick, but the other thing you'd be really aware of. Their containers must be co-located. So your garbage container and your recycle containers are like identical. They have to be next to each other in all locations. Wherever the organics food's being served, the organics container is the third, has to be co-located. So that's what we're looking for. In terms of signage, not only do you have to have the colors correct, but you have to show what it can go into those containers and what cannot. Again, state law. Here's the thing. These are generic signs that we will provide to you. They're on our website now. You can go in and print them out. In 2026, starting in January, when we send the approval for your waste plan, we're going to attach the PDF of these signs for you. Think, hey, and here are your signs. Make sure you get them on all the containers correctly. The haulers also have signage that they will provide for free that you can use. You can create your own signs if you want to brand them for your event. I would recommend it if you kind of know what kind of food service and vending and things you're going to have, what kind of waste is going to be generated. The best signage are the ones that actually have pictures of the thing that's in somebody's hand. So you can make your own as long as you're showing what can go in and can't go in. Your hauler will help you also determine what is and isn't allowed in which stream if you have a question. But we did create these generic ones to make it easy. And we've already talked about co-location on containers. So, hey, look, more maps. So you already have to make a map for fire. So just add in the waste containers. These are some samples. We have sometimes accepted handwritten ones, but he's right, those are not great. But what we're looking for is the co-location of where the receptacles are in your event space, and also where the larger dumpsters will be, that these smaller ones will get emptied into. So just some samples of maps. And again, you already have to make one for fire and for parking potentially and for other parts of your event. Just make sure you add in waste containers as part of that mapping process. The most common issues that we deal with, and I've kind of talked through them already a little bit, but no map. So when you send in your plan, there's no map, or the map you get this has no receptacles or containers on it. So that's an immediate reject now. No signage, not putting the signs on your containers. You've gone through the effort of getting all the containers out there, and people don't know what they're supposed to put where, and then everything gets overflowed and contaminated. Receptacles not co-located. Again, they all have to be together. Garbage, recycle at all times. Organics where there's going to be food. No backhauling to the house or to your business across town. Missing information, like we talked about those third-party recyclers you might want to work with who are going to take the CRB collection. We need information on who they are, where those recyclables are going. Items turned in separately, not going to happen. We want them all together at the same time. Otherwise, we'll just reject and not open up the file. So we need all three of those elements. Fudging on attendance. So I'm just going to be real here. We know waste is a cost. I mean, you're doing an event, and your event's going to generate waste. And you need to account for that. You need to accommodate that. You need to plan and budget for that. So there is a cost. 500, we feel, after some research, was a reasonable kind of cutoff point. What we see is I'm going to have 450 people come to my event, therefore I don't need a waste plan. I'll let you in on a secret. We all look at the applications as well. So if your application says 450, and you've got 4 food trucks, a beer truck, a beer garden, and a stage with 3 live events going, you're going to have more than 450. You know, don't do that. Sometimes, we understand sometimes you think, oh, I think we'll only get 400 and 800 people show up. But here's the thing. If you don't have enough waste capacity at your event, several things happen. One is you might get cited by us. 2, you will be paying YPCE for all the cleanup that's going to have to occur because you didn't have enough receptacles, you didn't plan for it, and now they're out there for a day or 2 cleaning up the mess that was made. So now you're going to probably be spending more money on the cleanup piece than if you'd actually had the correct services set for your event as it is. If it happens, the next time you look for an event or look to permit an event, we will require that you have a waste plan, even if you think I'm only going to have 100 people. You're still going to give us a waste plan now because of what happened last time. So please, please, please don't fudge on your attendance. Again, we understand sometimes it's iffy, but we have seen some really egregious activities related to that. And we do crack down. We do have code enforcement officers, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Ooh, crack down. That was a good sound effect, almost. Okay. Quick note, if you run an event with 2,000 or more people, and it's an event that you spend, that there's an attendance fee, something along those lines, state law requires that you provide us a post-diversion report. We will send you the form. It is 1 page, and you will get all your information from your franchise hauler, because if you're having an event with 2,000 people, you will have a hauler, and you'll turn it into us, and then we send that up to the state of California. So that's just a little extra thing that has to happen. If it's a free event, that doesn't have to happen. But if you are charging for attendance or participation in some way, that's required. So that's a little 2,000. My least favorite thing to talk about, but it's important, is enforcement. We do have code enforcement officers with recycling and solid waste. And here's the kinds of things that can happen. So if we talked about if you fudged on the numbers, or if it turns out that you didn't have enough service at the event, or there's no signage at the event, any of those things, we can write citations, and citations can come with fines. Or we could say, you know what, next time you do an event, you're going to need to prove to us what signs you're going to use, or you're going to need to do a waste plan, even if it's a small number, or we're just not going to approve it no matter what, and you don't get your permit. So there are some things we can do. We prefer not to. We can inspect any event at any time. Our code officers can do that. And if something's been real egregious, have there been citations and have there been fines? And the answer is yes. We're talking about 1%. Don't be the 1%. We really want to work with you. We really want you to have a successful event. We are happy to meet with you ahead of you turning in your waste plan, so you understand all the things that are required. The haulers are great. They can really walk you through what you might need. They can help figure, okay, you have this size of event, and you're having these kinds of activities. Here's what you're going to need. The number of receptacles and how big of a containers and those sorts of things. So, but that's one of the reasons we want to get the waste plans 30 days ahead, So if we do see some problems or if do see some gaps, we can help you guys make those arrangements or help fix that before it becomes a crisis situation and it's the day before you're back and you don't have a signed agreement. And if you're not going to have waste properly, then you're not going to get a permit. I will share with you, when we see issues with waste, we know that there's other issues with the event. You know, we're kind of the canary in the coal mine on you. They haven't turned in a waste plan, and sure enough, we'll check in with the permit office. Well, yeah, well, they haven't turned in all these other things as well. So it's kind of a sign that there may be an issue. So that's why we really like to start working with you early, so that can be addressed. That is it for me. But again, there's everything I really talked about today, the requirements. We have a printout of that. We have a blank form, and talk to the haulers if you've got questions about specific or what needs you have for your events. So